time. Something has got to happen because we can no longer go down the path that we're going down. This country won't last another 6 months. This country won't last another 12 months if something doesn't happen. So it's time to flip the switch. It's time to get involved. It's time to move the line forward. And if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. So I don't care what flip the switch is. I don't care if that means that all of this nonsense is nonsense, or if some of it's true. All right. Good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, Warriors, World Patriots, my fellow Americans. My name is Mike. I'm the host of Liberty Warrior. Give me liberty or give me death. When tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty. Welcome to this beautiful Saturday evening. It is December the 18th, 2021. Hope you all are having a great weekend. I know I'm trying to do a little relaxing, but I got some chores I need to get done here around the house and some other things that need to get done. So I'm hoping to get that done by end of day tomorrow. I think we're going to have an exciting night for you guys tonight. Got some really cool topics that we're going to talk about. A lot of us, we already know about them. We already talk about them quite a bit. But tonight we're going to have, we're going to go a little more in depth to it. Get some of you guys to maybe call in and give us your opinions on them. And pretty excited about that. Let me bring Captain Finger in. How you doing tonight, Shane?
Good.
All right. I don't know what's going on with the software tonight, but it's definitely it's kind of giving me kind of raising hell. I don't know why. It's weird, but
Mine was
we'll
giving me a
deal
little
with
bit
it.
of trouble, too.
Yeah, your signal was pretty weak there for a minute. I don't know. My camera wasn't working, all kinds of fun stuff. So it's working now. We'll roll with it. It is what it is. So tonight's topic is America's most popular conspiracies, and I'm pretty excited to talk about that. We'll open in prayer here in a minute. Anything that we need to update people on, Shane?
No, not as of
Be-
yet.
Besides the usual, Podbean has taken off. We've got almost 2,100 subscribers on Podbean. The last few episodes that we have done live has got well over 1,000 downloads each. I know Jeff B is planning on joining me. Listen, folks, planning on joining me Monday morning or Monday afternoon at 3 Eastern on Podbean. And again, I know that the room only holds 500 people, but you may have to catch the replay. There's nothing I can do about it, but he is planning on joining me Monday afternoon at 3 Eastern on Podbean. We're also, you can find us on Spotify. And I also found out today that we're also on Amazon Music. So that was pretty strange. We're on Amazon Music, so that's pretty cool. We're going across other platforms. I could add other platforms like iTunes and Google and a bunch of others, but for right now, I think we got plenty to do, and I'm going to reserve those for later use. So that's kind of the news that we got there. Remember, tonight is the last night. We're taking Sunday and Monday off, but Monday I will do the news in the morning and the Podbean in the afternoon. But that's all that we'll be doing for Monday. Sunday, I don't think anything's going on tomorrow. Everything's been pretty slow lately, so and I got to get some holiday stuff done as well. So I need a couple days off to do that. So anyway, we'll go ahead and open in prayer, and then we'll get the show started. So I know we're waiting for one more person to jump in here, and he'll be here in a minute. So, dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this Saturday evening weekend, Lord, as we all come together and enjoy the entertainment and the topics and the comments and stuff that we throw out there. Um, Lord, I just pray that everybody here enjoys their time, that you touch them with your blessings, Lord, and that we just have a great evening together, just being together and fellowship and as friends. And Lord, I just pray that for all those out there in need tonight, Lord, that you meet their needs in your Son's precious name. Amen. All right. Well, I got a couple of things that I'm going to start off with. Shane, I know you and I both been looking at it this afternoon. The top 10, and I'll go through them real quick to kind of give everybody an idea of the topics that we're going to be talking about. Let me bring them up real quick on the screen, on my screen. Okay, here is Jeff B. Let's bring him in. How's it going, Jeff?
Good.
Okay, so here's the top 10, the top topics. All right, I'm gonna name them off, and then we'll see how many we get to tonight. Because who knows how deep Shane or Jeff or myself will go into one of them. We might be on them for a while because some of them are pretty good. So the first one is secret group controlling the world, which is the New World Order. President Big Ears wasn't born in America. The attack on New York in September. Lizard people, reptiles running the world. The JFK incident in 1963. Aliens are contacting us. The moon landing was fake. FDA withholds cure for cancer. chemtrails, and least the number 10 is the Holocaust didn't happen. So I'm going to start at the top because those are some of my favorites.
Well, Mike,
when we
before you get started, let everybody know where you're pulling these, so you're just not making these up out of thin air. What article is this out of?
This is out of bigthink.com. I can drop the link in chat real quick if you guys want to follow along, if it'll let me. If it'll let me copy and paste. Of course. Of course. Well, I don't want to sit here with dead air. So while I'm doing this, if you come up with something to talk about there, Shane, while I copy this and drop it.
And if you can't pull it up, they can go ahead and just, all it is we just Googled it, and it's just top 10 conspiracies, and it'll pull it right up. And
I dropped the link.
Okay. All right.
I dropped the link. The link is in the chat. If you guys want to grab that link and read along with us or whatever, you're welcome to. I know a lot of you out there listening right now, you're going to have your own comments, your own thoughts that you want to share with us. And we'll drop the link for that after we've spent a little time on it. I know Johnny will probably have something to say for sure. So let's just start off with the first one, which is, secret group controlling the world, New World Order. This conspiracy purposes that a secret group called the Illuminati have been really controlling the world and is looking to create a one world government. Their end goal, supposedly, to create a new world order which will dissolve national boundaries and people's identities while allowing for total authoritarian control. So I'm going to start off with Shane first. Your thoughts?
Well, is that conspiracy? That's a coin toss right there. I mean, I don't think that in my opinion, I don't think that that's going to be too far off, because we all know there's somebody controlling all this crap going on all over the world, and it has something to do with the big banks. So,
Okay.
And there's a central bank in all the major countries, so that would tend to make sense that they pretty much run everything.
Well, okay, we've done research. We found that 13 families control a lot of what you speak of, Shane. Is it a conspiracy? Jeff B., your thoughts?
I don't think it's a conspiracy. George Herbert Walker Bush admitted it
in a speech, right? In a speech,
yep.
He said that
world order.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, so he said it. Hasn't Big Ears also said it, Jeff?
Yeah, I think Operation Dumbo Drop said, yeah. And he also said it would be his dream to be able to serve another 4 or 8 years, but not be the president.
From the background.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, there it is. Yep. 1,000 points of light.
Yep.
Yes, I think we can move that from the bogus column over to the jackpot column.
How about there's been several world leaders, also economy analysts, bankers, all professors. I've seen them in clips where they have also said the same thing, where they are trying to move forward to a new world order.
Yep. One world government.
One world government.
NAFTA,
absolutely.
All that fun stuff.
So again, is it a conspiracy?
That's going to be a negative, Ghost Rider. We're going to go ahead and slide that one over to the Yahtzee side of the house.
Yeah. Let's see. So they talk about the crazies think that it's the globalist, which They put in the article that Mr. T also was put that in his speeches a couple of times, that we got to fight the globalists and the elites, the Freemasons and Jewish people, which I'm going to say not all Jewish people. All right. There is a select few that I would put in that category that are all part of this new world order. And that their main goal is to control the whole world. I mean, come on, you have to really be asleep if you don't think some of this stuff is really going on.
Well, why they throw Jewish in there is because our mafia, I don't know, 3,000 years ago or 4,000 years ago, decided they was going to become Jewish, and they took over all the Jewish basic states, and that's why they throw Jewish in there, and they say, "Oh yeah, we're against Jews too." No, we're not.
We're not against
the
Jews.
ones that controlling this crap.
Exactly. I'm not against any Jew. I'm against the group that is trying to take the world over.
I'm against ignorance.
Yeah. Khazarian Jews. Thank you for that.
Mafia. Whatever the hell that means.
Thank you, Sissy, for the super sticker. Much appreciated. So, gentlemen, we'll roll on to the next one, and we'll go through these, and then, like I said, we'll drop the link and have people call in. So this one is one of my favorites. Okay, this one is one of my favorites for the simple fact that I can't prove either side is right. Okay, there's just no way for me to prove either side is right, and that is. And I won't even give him the respect of title of president. So Big Ears wasn't born in the United States. And man, I know the chat will blow up on this one. I'll go to Jeff first. Your thoughts on this conspiracy theory, and I can read you some of the cliff notes here where it was even brought up in the 2016 campaign. But the fact is it was debunked, and he was born in Hawaii. His father was from Kenya, and his American mother, his mother was American, and 72% of Republicans believe that this is true.
So, oh shit, here we go. So Barack Obama's not his birth name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And wasn't he called a Muslim?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they didn't have fact checkers now at that time period. Now we got these fact checkers, which always turn out to be opinionist.
Yes, that came out this week. You are 100% correct on that, Jeff B. It came out that Facebook fact checkers were only opinions, but yet their opinion is the only one that matters. So if you don't align with their opinion, then you get censored. Correct.
Dan Bongino did a full segment on that.
So Barry Soetoro, which is Barack Hussein Obama, was called a radical Islamist, and anybody who said that was a racist. And when that president became into office and he did his world tour, which this one hasn't yet, maybe they'll wait till year 3. He went to all these Muslim countries first. And then he paid the Iranians, which that's going to be a fun story. So I'm saying anything's on the table. Would I believe it? Yeah. I can believe anything right now.
Well, these jackasses claim, so it was being spread around that Big Ears was a Muslim, but it's been well documented that he was a Christian. So I would like to see in the chat tonight I'd like to see in the chat tonight, if you believe that Mr. Big Ears, who was president before Mr. T, was a Christian, please put a 1 in the chat. If you believe he's a Muslim, please put a 9 in the chat. Because me personally, I don't believe he was a Christian. Not even close. I think he absolutely was a Muslim. 100%. That's my belief. No, there's got to be at least one in there. They're all 9s. I guess these people don't believe he was a Christian either. A lot of 9s.
Allahu Akbar.
And he's married to Big Mike, right?
Big Mike.
Big Mike. I bet if he was in here, he'd put a 9 too. I don't think he believes it either.
and the funny thing about that is I was told Big Mike during his administration, and I thought they were joking. That's what they called her, you know, whenever they were on their breaks. Oh, Big Mike.
So do either one of you believe that he is retired and kind of just living the good life right now? Or do either one of you believe he still has a hand in what's going on with this administration? And how many people in the chat believe that Obama is still tied to this current administration behind the scenes? Put a 1 in the chat if you believe he is still part of this administration that we see in front of us today. Your thoughts?
I'd almost guarantee he is.
I don't think he is.
You don't think he is?
No, because if he was, why isn't his face out there telling the American people how great Joe Biden's doing?
Like I said that last time we was on here, it's because he don't want to go down with this idiot. But
they're in control. They don't need to worry about going down with the idiot. They're in control.
You can only make somebody do something so much in front of a camera, you know. You can talk in their ear, but if they can't hear you or don't comprehend what you're saying or don't comprehend English, I should say.
Oh, wait. Speaking of ears.
Oh, here we go.
Here's a damn conspiracy for you.
And this is a pretty good one.
This was live and in color. Joe Biden, during one of his speeches. Remember, you know, how I always said you have to look at their facial features and their ears and how something didn't look right. Well, lo and behold, I don't know if it was at this debacle of a commencement speech that they probably had to pay these kids to show up, or this other speech he just gave. But it was really weird. His right earlobe was attached, but his left earlobe was like curled up. Like, I don't know, somebody forgot to put some glue down or something, or maybe it's going to be showed later on. Just, I mean, it was live and in color. So,
you know, I didn't see that, but maybe they forgot to flat iron it down.
So I guess the fact checkers will have to run that one down, because that damn earlobe was like Kamala ripped on it or chewed on it, or maybe they were doing something that they shouldn't have been doing. Clinton
He'll caught it. He'll caught it.
You'll nibble on your earlobe, Joe.
Oh, I told you earlier, Jeff, that just listening to him for the last week, if it's the real guy, okay, he is so bad that they have to put caption up under him talking, because you can't understand what he's saying. It's getting that bad. So there's no way that this guy is going to ever make it, in my opinion. Never.
Hey, we're doing so great. Bill,
all right,
I didn't think we'd make it this far.
Me neither. Me
Or
neither.
maybe I was just hoping he wouldn't.
Well, let's move on to the next one. This one is another one of my favorites. You know, and I'll start off first, and I'll be frank with everybody. I told you guys many a times when we talk about this subject that for many years after this event happened, I went on the total defense when anybody would ever tell me anything different that happened in this event in September 11th, and I'd get pissed about it, you know, because I believe the fact that we were attacked. I believe the fact that our government was there to do the right thing, and we did all the right things. That was my belief then. Then, over the last few years and recently, really diving into a lot of stuff, I started connecting the dots, and there was a lot of things that just absolutely did not make sense. And it seemed like people were being able to prove the fact that the Bush administration seemed like they were part of the deal, and that the building didn't come down because of the planes. So the attacks on 9/11, conspiracy or not conspiracy?
That would be a tough one to pull, because you would think that all those people in downtown, how do you fake a plane? I mean, you could CGI, holograms, whatever. But I mean, you watch the video when it happened, you could hear engines. Now, did they know something was going to happen? They just didn't connect the dots. I don't know. That's a rough rabbit hole to go down. But then you listen to demolition experts, and they're like, no, that wouldn't have done it.
Shane, your thought?
I don't know. Take a beer can and shove it through a steel building. See how well you do. It's my only thought. I did a plane hit it? Maybe. It's not what took down the building. And then you hear these people go, well, there's 9,000 or 90,000 tons of fuel that went down through there, and it got so hot it melts these steel beams. Okay, and it melts concrete too, apparently. I just don't see it. I don't see it. And it was precision drop. If not, when them planes hit it, that thing would have fell over sideways and taken out 3 city blocks. It wouldn't have fell straight down. That was a controlled drop. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna have to agree and disagree with both of you. And what I want to agree on is I believe it was a demolition drop, but I don't believe it was CGI. I believe real planes hit the building. On purpose, but I don't believe that the fuel was hot enough to ever melt the metal. And I think that those buildings were built so strong that, like you said, Shane, trying to take a tin can and shove it through a piece of steel, it's not going to happen. So when those planes hit the building, those buildings weren't going to tip over because they were solid I-beams all through the core of that thing. So my theory is it really happened and planes hit the building, but it was an inside job and they brought the building down with explosives. That's my thought.
But then you got to ask, okay, why? There's all kinds of theories to that. That's what makes this such a great conspiracy, supposedly. Like I said, did something hit it? Yes, I'm sure something did. Something hit it. But the size of holes that was in there, go back and look at every video camera you can that showed the pictures of even them hitting. Every hole in there from these 2 planes, the holes weren't big enough to be a plane. That's the thing. They weren't big enough to be a 737.
So do you think maybe drones? Because people are
It was
throwing
bigger than a
comments in there.
drone.
Well, they make some pretty big drones. They make
I was
really
going to
big
say,
drones.
yeah. I was going to say the only way it could be a drone is it's going to have to be one of those big ones, because which is the size of a small Learjet, because that's about the size of the hole. Was like a 12 or 14 seater plane. That was the size of the hole in the wingspan that hit the building, because you could see in what you'd in the building, the side of the building where the wings should have hit and the engine should have hit. The wingspan wasn't real huge on that, and a 737 would have taken the top end of that building off if it would have been what they said it was.
So
but
let
once
me
again,
ask you.
that building is so strong that I just don't see it.
So let me ask you this question, Shane. For those of you that are watching tonight, if you can hit that like button and help us out, that would be truly appreciated to get the algorithm up. If you can hit the like button. I was in Boise, Idaho working when this happened, and this is what first came across the radio. And listen to what I say. They said a Cessna hit the building.
I remember that too. They had a report here that it was a Cessna.
It was a Cessna. So with
how many passengers? Go back and read how many passengers are in this Cessna.
You don't get too damn many.
So see how many passengers were supposedly in this. That might change your mind on if it was a Cessna or not. Well, they was packed in like sardines.
I don't know. That's just what they reported when I first heard it. And I thought to myself, this was my exact thought in my head. I even said it to my work buddy. We were headed back to the shop. And I said to him, a Cessna just hit one of the Twin Towers. Was the pilot blind or what? How do you run a little ass Cessna into a big ass building like that? Didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it definitely had to have been intentional if they did. Like I said, I don't know. The whole story around it, like I said, just doesn't make sense. And like I said, hitting the building where they did, it wouldn't have come down. It wouldn't have come down, period.
And here's the thing too about that. To me, that never made sense. So days prior, Mahmoud is knocked off, blown up. The head of the resistance in northern Afghanistan. So it gave them the boogeyman. If you follow what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just days prior. Why would you have to take this dude out unless you're building a narrative? It's just one man in a mushroom hat with an AK-47.
So let me ask you this question. How did the other buildings come down? Because there was several other buildings that came down. So how did those buildings come down? Was it because of all of the building materials that came straight down, wiping out the corners of those buildings, which I think building 7 was quite a ways away? Again, is it conspiracy or is it fact? Because seems awful odd that some of those other buildings also came down.
I don't know. Ask the chat what they think.
What do you think, chat? The other buildings that came down besides the two twins, was that conspiracy or was that real? Meaning, was it demolition? Put a 1 in the chat if you think demolition brought the other buildings down. Put a 7 in the chat if you think it was because of the structure of the twins taking it down. Me personally, I just find it really strange. I think it was, I think they came down for a reason.
So, all right. So let me ask you this. How many people does a 737 hold?
Let's say between 200 and 250 people.
Okay. So we'll roll with that number. There were 3 planes, right? 4 planes that we know of.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep 1,000 people quiet? 1,000 family members quiet? Ted Olson, I mean, he died, supposedly died in Shanksville, right? Was it Shanksville or was it the Pentagon? Who was a solicitor general. His wife was all over the Fox News. Yeah, I mean, you could off them. Look, 1,000 people. You mean they're going to kill 1,000 people roughly in an hour? Shit, people think I'm batshit crazy. I want to see you pull that operation.
Well, let me ask you this question then. Has anybody seen the manifest of the people that was on it and who they work for?
Well, I can tell you one thing. I know what we were doing on the morning of 9/11.
Well, I know what I was doing. But that's my question is, who was on this plane and who they work for?
Well, hold on. I'm leading up to that. So as I was ushering myself from Eaton Park after my pager goes off twice, and our first assignment, I guess you could call it assignment, was to go to a certain university, to go to a certain science building, and to usher out certain members of a certain family of a certain country, put them on a private plane and get them out of Dodge. That's what they were worried about.
Retaliation.
That would be Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
Because one of the universities in my area is a highly renowned polymer science program. And it's amazing how many people from the royal family go there of the kingdom. And that was our task, is getting them out of the country. Kind of weird.
Well, like I said, I'd have to see who they work for if there was anybody on the plane to begin with. And you get the 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 or 20 that come on live TV shows and say, yeah, my family member was on there. I hope to God they weren't. But if, you get 20, 30 people that come on TV and say something like that, it's pretty easy if they work for the Pentagon or somebody else. It's pretty easy to just pay them off to say whatever you wanted to say and go on. That would be, I'm not saying any of that's true. I'm just saying that would be one way to do it. Because you don't need 1,000 people to all have the same story about their family members being on these planes. You only got to have 1 or 2 distraught, and it's going to make the story when everybody was that upset of what happened. And that's just my thought.
I mean, me personally, if you have 1,000 people that that morning got on a plane, you put them on a plane, and now all of a sudden the government or whoever, the airlines, are telling you that these people just ate it into a building. I mean, do you murder them when they're on the plane? That's plausible. That's a wet work job. Gas them? Possibly. I don't know. But you can go down that rabbit hole. How the hell do we have 17 and 1 17 Saudis. Let's go invade Afghanistan. Oh, but in the meantime, Saddam Hussein, the dictator. Oh, that's right, because he tried to rub your dad out, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
So,
know.
Were there plane parts in the field in Pennsylvania? I heard there were no plane parts, just a big old crater in the ground.
I remember the skid marks. I
I
mean,
don't think there was much of anything in there. I think they did find a little bit. I don't know. I'll have to go back and read again. It's been so long, but I don't think they found enough to make it a plane. I know all the pieces they did find, they supposedly took back. But here's the thing: all the little black boxes and all these planes. How come we ain't heard anything out of that? How come there's no report? They didn't disintegrate. They're not made to disintegrate. They're made to take impacts. They're made for that crap.
yeah.
Where are they at?
And that one was a feel good story. Let's roll.
Change the narrative, right?
Right.
And we all remember who was in charge of Building 7, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Last name Bush, right?
He was in charge of security over those buildings, wasn't he? Wasn't it security?
I couldn't tell you. I'd have to get a fact checker.
All right, so let's just end it with conspiracy or not conspiracy. Where do you want to put that one?
Leave it in the middle. Leave it up in the air.
All right.
I'm going to say not conspiracy because there's too many damn moving parts.
All right, I'm going to move on to this one. This one will be quick. I won't spend much time on it. Lizard people, aka reptiles, are running the world. Conspiracy or not?
I sure hope like hell that's a conspiracy. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I seen the late 70s, early 80s B, and every time I see Nancy, I wait for a split tongue to come out. But I'm going to say conspiracy.
She does have a split tongue. Well, we know she's got a split mouth because she talks out both sides of it. So it's got to be a dual tongue.
Talks or drinks?
Well, she drinks out of one side and talks out of the other, I'm pretty sure.
I'll say this. I believe there are a lot of politicians that have been in there way too long that would resemble reptiles to me for sure.
That's formaldehyde, sir.
And the way they slither on the ground and their forked tongues and all that stuff. Definitely for me, they would be reptiles, but I'm going to go ahead and leave that one in the conspiracy side.
Bunch of damn snakes.
Okay, so this one is another pretty hot topic. We've talked about it before on here. It's been going on for what is it now? Like 65 years, 58 years. I think it's 58 years if my math is correct. So JFK assassination, conspiracy, or I don't even know what to call the other one. Conspiracy, not conspiracy. We all know that, well, some people believe that he was still alive. So do we want to believe that? Okay, so here's my question. JFK, was it Oswald by himself, or was it a conspiracy that took him down?
Conspiracy.
I think it was conspiracy because Oswald doesn't look smart enough to pull the trigger.
Wasn't Oswald anybody that hit him? I've
done so much research on this topic, and I'm not a weapons expert, but just the way, just the magic bullet alone tells me that there was more than one. and there's been proof, in my opinion, that there was at least half a dozen shooters, um, and just so many other things that came about, like the cop in Texas that disappeared, or not, he didn't disappear, but the cop in Texas that seemed to get axed the same day, looked an awful lot like JFK. Um, there's just too many moving parts to that one too. Bush Senior was also, wasn't he head of CIA back then?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people that seem to be involved at some kind of level when it comes to that.
Well, wasn't he just in Dallas?
Yeah, he was dressed up as Michael Jackson.
Doing the moonwalk.
Right.
Oh, moonwalk. I hope that happens shortly. Yeah, I mean, you can make this thing fit however you want.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was. I mean, granted, that was before my time, but maybe there is a magic bullet, and that's what they used January 6th to do that around the corner down shot. But
And then the bullet come from upwards through instead of down. Right. Okay.
I mean that would be. I mean, just here's another one.
Wasn't that show called Wanted with Angelina Jolie? They curve them bullets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah. But I think Kennedy. I think Kennedy was in the process of doing some of the stuff that we believe is happening now. Because why they were supposed to release all the documents and all of a sudden it got postponed, or kind of odd.
I'm going to say I believe Kennedy was trying to accomplish, in my opinion, good things. And I think he was stopped in his tracks. And I definitely think that there were a lot of people involved that made that happen. It wasn't just a rogue one guy decided he was going to take matters into his own hands. I think it was a well-planned and executed conspiracy to take the president out. That's my opinion of it. And I agree with Jeff. I think you could take that story and fit any narrative you wanted to fit with it. Honestly, there's so much to it. You could twist that thing any direction you wanted it to go.
Yeah, and if you go listen to Snafu had one on just a couple days, matter of fact. Snafu had it was Andy down a rabbit hole. He had Andy Sheckman from Miles Franklin. Them two were discussing it, and they talked about it, and they went into pretty good depth. He's got access, down there at Dallas because that's where he's from. Scott is. So he's got pretty good access to some of the paperwork and stuff that they keep in the museum and stuff down there for it. But anyway, they talked about it, and they went into pretty good detail about it a couple of days ago. I thought that was interesting. I didn't get to catch it all, but I caught part of it. Yeah, Snafu said Oswald had a double because when he come back from Russia, he spoke very fluent Russian, but when he come back, his own family said he wasn't acting right. He acted different and looked different. I don't know how long he was supposedly gone, but Oswald supposedly had someone that looked a lot like him, but not close enough that his family couldn't tell that it wasn't him. His family could tell it wasn't actually probably him.
Well, stay tuned to the end of the list because I'm adding number 11 to it, and you're going to enjoy this question that I bring up at the end. So stay tuned. We'll get to it. So here's the next one. I'm going to move on so we can get to some callers. Aliens are contacting us. Do you guys believe that aliens have landed here on Earth?
Well, I watched the movie Mars Attacks. I mean, all right. So if this universe is as big as they say it is, we're the only bodies. I mean, what do we? How do you classify an alien? Does it have to walk, talk? I don't know. There's that shit that they showed on Mars. Somebody built that base. Sure in the hell wasn't us.
There's a base on. There's a base on Mars.
No, a face. Have you ever seen? I'm pretty sure it was Mars, where it looks like a face, like Aztec ruins.
Mm-hmm.
How in the hell did they build the pyramids?
Some people say aliens did it. Some people say aliens did it. Some people say the Hebrews built them when the Egyptians enslaved them.
Well, and here's something that a lot of people don't realize is concrete's not a new thing. The Romans have poured concrete thousands of years ago. So what makes you think that they couldn't pour it back then? Mm-hmm. They got their technology from somebody.
Somebody said Mork and Minnie. Nanu.
Think about this. Look at the pyramids. If you go up and look at them, they're crumbling real sandy like. That ain't stone that was carried in unless it was sandstone. That would have never lasted this long. But what does concrete turn into after a long ass time? Starts getting crumbly around the edges where all the weather hits. Who's to say they didn't pour that shit right where it is?
Hey Shane, you might want to slow down because you're starting to show your age.
Well, you know.
Well, okay. So here's my two thoughts. The first thought about aliens. I'm such a skeptic about that. I've seen things, videos with things in the sky, but like Shane says, every time somebody takes a video, it looks like the video's from 1940. Why can't we have clear vision of the UFO spaceships flying around? Why does it always look like they use super old technology to put those out there? I've seen a lot of different videos, a lot of different people trying to prove aliens are real, UFOs are real. And I am still in the camp of, I don't know. And to Shane's comment about, concrete and the pyramids, I'm going to go ahead and believe the Bible said that they were built by the Egyptians and they had slaves to build those pyramids. And that's where I'm going to stay, is in that camp for that one.
Illegal immigration. That's how it was done.
All right. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next one, which is here's another favorite. So the chat's going to blow up on this one. The moon landing was faked. Conspiracy or real? Did they really land on the moon? Okay. Did they really land on the moon back in the 60s, or was it faked?
Well, right out the gate in the 60s, all the way up through the, 70, 71, they was landing on the moon. But even NASA come out and said, we have lost the technology to get back there. And this has just been a couple years ago when they said this. I'm sorry, we've got more technology now than we've ever had. How in the hell can you lose technology to get to the moon, but we ain't smart enough to do it now? I want to tell you what, our old timers are stupid smart. I mean, highly intelligent. But they're smart enough to put that shit where you're not going to lose it too. Something is amiss here.
So let me get this straight, Shane. Are you saying that they lost the roadmap to get to the moon, and that's why we can't get back there?
They lost their technology. Yes, they lost their roadmap.
The
they
GPS
lost their driving directions.
GPS doesn't work going to the moon, folks.
But
well, if you use the Aztec memos, you can get there.
But you can send a fucking rover to Mars.
And there's water on Mars now, they're saying, so that's even better.
You don't need a road map because I can go outside and point to the fucker. I know exactly where it's at.
I just, so you got the moon, and then you've got Mars, and there's supposedly a prison on Mars and all this other stuff. I'm gonna go with everything past the moon was absolutely fake. The early landings could very possibly be fake, in my opinion, to stir up the Cold War, to, like the article says, give America a real morale boost in the Cold War, and try to beat down the Russians and everybody else trying to make it to the moon at the same time we were, to fake it, to say, hey, we won. Were the trips after that, like the Apollos and stuff, fake? Man, I want to believe that. I want to believe that shit was real. I want to believe the stuff after was real, that they at least tried. I don't know. It's so confusing for me because there's so much information out there. That's where I'm at.
Here's one thing.
I feel like I'm on the moon right now.
If you go out and look at the moon, it looks like some of our continents, right? The stars or whatever, the asteroids. Mm-hmm. Maybe we have one of those things like in the movie. Wakanaka. Where they Avengers. You have that dome and they shoot shit up. And look. Bob's your uncle, because I could buy anything right now.
Well, how about we just leave that one there and we'll move on, and when we drop the link, maybe somebody has something they want to add to that. This is another one that I scratch my head about because I believe it could be true.
Hillary Clinton in prison on the moon. I heard that one.
FDA is withholding the cure for cancer. We've been hearing stuff like this going around for a decade now, that they've had a cure and they're withholding it. So I'll go to Shane first. Your thoughts?
Absolutely, they are. You can go across and over towards Latvia, up in that area. They've had the cure for cancer for over 70 years with natural remedies, and it has been illegal in the United States to bring it here. They have kept it silent, and how that got found out is anybody can research it. Go to Dr. His last name is Sears, just like Sears and Roebuck. I'm trying to think of his name, first name. I think it's Robert Sears, I think. Dr. Robert Sears. And he talks about it, and what brought it up was Reagan. He had stage 4 cancer. I don't know if it's colon. It was internal cancer, either way. He went over there and it took him like 7 weeks flying back and forth. While he was president, he had stage 4 cancer, was going to die. A year before he got out of the presidency, he was flying back and forth. You know what Reagan died from, don't you?
Skin cancer.
Natural causes. They cured that cancer. He lived 19 years after that. After he had stage 4 internal cancer.
He had skin cancer too, didn't he?
You better go look at it. All I know is what Dr. Sears said, and he runs the, if I'm not mistaken, he runs Philadelphia Medical Science. It has to do with the, damn it, I wish I'd looked that up recently. Anyway, it's a big deal in Philadelphia, and they do all the research for medications, all natural.
Mayo Clinic?
No, it ain't that one. It's give me a minute, I'll look it up. Anyway, y'all go ahead.
Well, yeah, he did have skin cancer on his nose. I'm pretty sure that's what a lot of people in the chat are also saying. So I'm not disagreeing with you, Shane, saying he didn't have other cancer, but I know for a fact he had some on his nose too. So your thoughts there, Jeff B. Are they withholding from us?
I would have to say yes, because if they could come up with a cure in 6 months of this bullshit with Captain Dipshit Fauci holding the reins, yeah, there's too much money involved.
Yeah. So this article tries to lay claim to, well, why would they withhold it? Because conspiracy theorists believe that they withhold it because they wouldn't make any money, which is what you just said, Jeff B. So they claim why wouldn't they, if they had a cure, why wouldn't they put it out there? Because that means they'd make money. They would be able to sell the cure and make money. But in my opinion, the cure would be so treatable and so affordable, everybody could do it. If they withhold it and big pharma has control of it, then you got all kinds of doctors. You have to see all kinds of specialists. You got to go through chemo. You got to go through radiation. You got to go through all these procedures to try to cure or get rid of the cancer. I would think withholding it, you're going to make a whole lot more money than giving people the cure.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with they're withholding it. They're withholding it. All right. Here's one. Chemtrails.
It is the wellness institute. It is the wellness.
Okay. Chemtrails. Conspiracy or real?
No, I can see that shit.
They're real.
They're real? Okay, let me read to you the description of what they claim chemtrails are. Okay, don't beat up the messenger here. They say that chemtrails are caused by, of course, the trails are just what they call contrails created by the combustion of vapor from the plane's engine combined with the low temperatures at night altitudes. That's what they claim chemtrails are. Here we go again with me. I've seen photos of planes that have had tanks of chemicals or whatever inside the hull. They claim that those are used for chemtrails. But being at that high of an altitude and it being that cold, I would say, in my opinion, it's possible that those are what I would call jet streams and not chemtrails.
Well, you can see differences between jet streams and chemtrails. Chemtrails linger forever. Jet streams, you see them and they dissipate really quick. You don't see them go from sun up to sundown all day long.
Yeah, but I'm also saying that chemtrails are possible. I'm just saying so are jet streams. So
absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
I think it's to recharge the Wakanda dome. Wakanaka.
All right, here's the last one, and I don't even want to stay on this very long because I think it's absolute bullshit. And then we'll drop the link and let people call in. Number 10 is the Holocaust never happened. I don't believe that for 1 second. I believe the Holocaust absolutely happened. Your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I think it happened, but how we got to that, I think that's the question.
Yeah, I absolutely think it happened. Whether the reasons that was told back in the time, was that true or not, who knows? But I think it absolutely happened.
Okay. All right, I'll drop the link for you guys. If you want to jump in here, we'll take a few callers. You guys can call in and make comment on any of those conspiracies. I thought it was an excellent conversation, gentlemen, tonight. A lot of fun, entertaining for me to hear your guys' opinion on those and to see all the comments in chat. So if you guys want to hop up here real quick, make a comment. Let's try to make them quick if we can, so that other people get a chance to make a comment. Sometimes I get a room full and then people start dropping off because they don't have enough. They don't want to wait around for 45 minutes to make a comment. So let's try to make them quick tonight. How's it going, Ron?
Pretty good. Yeah, I can say this with pretty good references. Yeah, most everything you talked about tonight have either came true or are going to be coming true in statements, just for a simple fact that everything we've been ever taught other than immediate survival has been a freaking lie. Okay? They tell us that we're going to put fluoride in your water. Yeah, you're not supposed to swallow fluoride. You brush your teeth with fluoride toothpaste. Make sure you rinse and spit out the toothpaste, not drink it. It causes cancer. Everything that they have put out in our medication and our foods, unless you grow your own food and you've got it in a greenhouse where you can keep the air away from it and purify what comes in, is going to get tainted at some point, and the plants will maintain that level of exposure. Even our cattle, you get cattle are put into a processing yard. They stand around up to their elbows in cow crap all day. They feed them all kinds of antibiotics to keep them alive. They stress them from the salt. Their food doesn't have as much salt as they need, so they continue to eat and graze. That's to fatten them up so they can get all that other crap to come out. Plus, they sell them by body weight, so you end up throwing the fat out. Everything that you said tonight, you know, in today's world is possible. Very, very possible.
Shane, what do they say?
25 years ago.
What do they say about conspiracy theory and truth, Shane? It's just what, 6 months? What's the
6 months away?
Yeah, 6 months away from being a fact, but you know, some of them take a little longer. But you know, everything comes out in the end either way. And even if it never comes out 100%, there's always some parts of it that were nefarious. There's always something going on behind the scenes that shouldn't have happened. So yep. I wouldn't say it's BS by no means, but usually 6 months to a year.
All right. Well, I got a room full there, Ron. So thanks for calling in and give us your comment.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Okay. So I got a room full. I'll get to you here in just a second. I forgot about number 11. I saw a comment in there. What happened to number 11? So here's number 11. Lincoln, vampire slayer or not?
He was 100% part of the Crips.
Did you really read that off that page? I must not got down that far. You made that crap up. You made that shit up, because there ain't no way. I read the same page as you did.
That's because that rumor's been going around in the last couple of months, and somebody said, I believe he was. Watch the movie, The Lincoln, the Vampire Slayer, and it tells all the truth. So I watched that movie, and it was one of the worst movies I've ever watched. I'll never get that 2 hours of my life back. And I thought, anybody who believes this crap, holy shit. Just whatever. All right. We're going to move on.
Is that the one that negative 48's pushing to watch?
I'm not saying anything. Let's bring in the next caller. This is Johnny. How's it going, John?
Well, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. I've been an old conspiracy hound for quite some time. The one reality about most of what, other than the aliens, I don't know any link to the Khazarian mafia or the cabal, but everything else has deep ties, and that's the reality, is that there's not very many of these things if you follow the bucks. And when we talk cabal or Khazarian mafia, it's always the money. And when you follow the money for everything that you talked about, there are links and connections to the money. And that's just facts. You know, they have to paint us all with tinfoil hats to keep the sheep in line. You know, say, oh, no. I don't know what made those folks think that way. I had a good buddy of mine who worked and did demo, and he's passed away, but he went to his grave believing, okay, they might have flown some planes into those towers, but I damn well guarantee you somebody demoed them some guns. And he actually had a video of Building 7. And it came down in the same straight manner as the Twin Towers. And I've always, and then when you follow the money, you go to link all these folks talking about Nasara and St. Germain Trust and where those funds were held, Building Number 7. And supposedly under gunpoint, Mr. Billy Boy Clinton, when we became totally insolvent and bankrupt, on that very same day was the date that they were supposed to release the funds from the St. Germain Trust. So, and you can track the trust and who's the keeper of the trust, and that's a massive amount of gold to be unleashed across the planet. You know, and so now what are we listening to? We're hearing in reality that, you know, what 108 nations have already going away from the petrodollar and going to go to a gold-backed digital currency and gold-backed currency. That's a fact.
209.
Yeah, that's a fact, huh? And so there's reality, all of it. The stuff on the outer edge, then you got to think the cure for cancer. And you guys nailed it. Why would they hold that cure and think about every city, especially every metropolitan city's got a cancer center of some type? You know, chemotherapy, the drugs for that, massive amounts of money, massive.
Big money.
And I do believe Dr. Hulda Clark, she's a Canadian, and she believed and got a book out, The Cure for All Diseases Are in Your Gut, and you can cure them all because of the poisons that they fed us. Go ahead, Shane.
Isn't cancer the number 2 killer in the world?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
a lot of money.
How would you cure it?
If you want population control, and you're making population control too. So
You're killing two birds with the same rock, huh? Lining your pockets, killing off the population. And you got to understand, these evil people, your World War I, World War II, every single war, both sides. It's not that these guys play one side against the other. They play both sides because they could care less who the victor is. They're going to, whatever damage is done, whatever destruction takes place, they're going to make the money on repairing it, fixing it. You know, JFK, the links to the documents of following the money. His executive order 11110 was to end and do and start to move away from the Federal Reserve. Who's the Federal Reserve? European bankers. It's not any part of our federal government. European bankers.
All right, John. I got to get on to the next.
Okay, go ahead.
Get on the next caller, man.
All right, travel on.
Still filling up.
All right, we'll talk about the next conspiracy with the medical tyranny later.
Absolutely. This next week on Podbean. Absolutely.
There you go. Later.
All right, brother. Love you.
So if cancer is the number 2, is the number 1 Clinton's?
Clinton side.
Pretty close.
Harry Wood could be. Let's bring Missy in real quick. Hello, Missy. Welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Alex, I'd like to take moon landing conspiracy for 300.
Okay.
How much wood does it take to get there?
With Buzz Aldrin. I'm sorry, what, Shane?
Well, you said you'd take that for 300, so I just asked you how much aluminum foil does it take to get there?
Yeah, about 300 probably. But there was an interview with Buzz Aldrin, and he made a very good point in that when people sat around their TV station, their TVs in the living room then, and watched the moon landing, how could there have been a camera on the moon
Good point.
for the
I've said
first
that.
moon landing? And also with the technology then, how could they have filmed the launch back up to the command module that was orbiting the moon? Because they didn't have technology then. They had to take the film out of the camera to put it on the TV. So those are things that make me question it, but and I think some of them were, I mean, I'm sure they all signed NDAs and signed their life away, so that they could get money for whatever it was they did. But, maybe back then that was, like you said, that was their way of throwing a distraction.
Cold War, and everybody was trying to get to the moon. And I'm not saying that we cheated, but I'm saying it's a possibility that we made it look like we made it first. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
One
Because
word.
we didn't make it into space first, so therefore we got to show that we made it to the moon first.
Correct.
One word can
So-
solve it all. It's called posturing.
Yeah.
That's all it
Yes.
was.
Yep. All right, Missy. Thanks for the call. I still got a room full here. I got to get
All
to.
right.
So, all right. Thank you much. God bless. Have a great evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye bye.
Alex, the answer to that question is, what is Hillary Rodham Clinton?
All right. Let's bring Lori in. How are you, Lori?
Okay. How are you, Mike and Shane and
Good.
Jeff? How are you doing tonight? There's so many good topics you had on tonight. I think the one that really hits home with me is September 11th, because like you guys were talking about, everybody knows where they were when that happened. And where I was at work. I worked at a call center. It's called Oxford Health Plans, and we took care of a lot of people in those two twin towers. So I didn't know these people personally, but I've talked to them, and my heart just dropped when I heard about it. They sent everybody home because obviously there was no calls coming in. I mean, we dealt with other people in the surrounding area, but the Twin Towers was like what we called our key account, that we had. So, and then from there, they laid off about 100 people. And of course, I was one of them. Yeah, that had to be such a devastating time for everybody, I think.
Absolutely. And the narrative that they pushed from the word go was it was a horrific narrative. And I think a lot of people paid the price for that, even years after, even 20 years after. So it was a horrific time in American history. That's for sure. Go ahead, Shane.
Lori, you said something. I want to make sure I didn't misunderstand what you said. You worked there and you took care of the people coming out of them buildings?
Well, I worked here in Tampa. Okay. And it was in a call center.
Okay.
And we took calls coming in, and a majority of our calls were those people in the buildings.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure I understood what you said.
Yeah, I know that
I wanted to make sure I
is
had
a
it
good
lined up.
question. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
All right,
you guys
Lauren.
have a good evening.
Yes, thank you for the
And I'll
call.
see you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye. Much love.
Alex.
All right.
What is Hillary Rodham Clinton?
Hold on there, Eric. You're next. Eric and then Hannah. This was just sent to me. Breaking news about astronauts. The Biden administration announces plans to send the first transgender astronaut to Uranus to search for a probe for the signs of life there. So it looks like this is all real. And it is happening right now. So breaking news.
Wait. Please tell me you made that up.
It was sent to me.
Well,
You're
here's
welcome.
another question.
You're welcome, Travis.
Here's another question. Didn't he just have that done a week and a half ago? They didn't find any life in there a week and a half ago.
Didn't find Obama.
All right. That was from Rusky. I'll give him credit for that. He sent it to Travis. I thought it was pretty funny. So
that was that polyp they removed, Jeff.
And you know what? I would have believed it.
That was that polyp they removed is what they found. So yes, he was in there.
Yes, that was a joke. Just for everybody listening, that was a joke. But it wouldn't surprise me. All right, let's move on to the next caller. This is Eric from Facebook. How you doing, Eric? You there, Eric? We can hear you. Eric. All right, let's move on to Hannah. Hello, Hannah. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Okay, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
You're really going to put me on after that joke, are you? I thought it was pretty good, Mike. I liked it.
All right, thank you. I know everybody says I'm all business all the time, and I'm always so serious. So I try to throw a joke out there from Travis to make everybody laugh, and then people wonder if I'm serious.
Well, I got a kick out of it. Thank you. You made my evening. The chemtrails is what I was going to talk about.
Okay.
I live in a small town. The next small town over, I went shopping on September 24th, and I looked up, and there are two jets in the sky crisscrossing, leaving trails. And they made like a plaid design in the sky. And it was very obvious what they were doing. They were going, and then they turned sideways, and the other one had come turn, and they were just made this like plaid design in the sky. I actually have pictures of it. So anyways, I'm standing there watching them in the parking lot, and everybody else is looking at me like, okay, what's wrong with this crazy lady? But anyways, I'm like, okay, that's chemtrails. And then go back to, I think it was March, wasn't it, when we had that big freeze in Texas? Mm-hmm. My daughter and I were coming back from shopping, and there were a couple planes putting down chemtrails, and I pointed them out to her, and she says, "What's that?" And so I said, "Well, it looks like they're putting down chemtrails." So I took a picture and sent it to my brother, and my brother says, "What is that?" I said, "Chemtrails." And he's like, "Oh, okay, sure, whatever." You know, kind of roll his eyes at me through the text. But I said, "Now you watch." I said, "In a couple days," I said, "we're going to have some really weird weather. Something weird is going to happen with the weather." And it was like 2 or 3 days later, we had the ice or the freeze, really bad freeze. So anyways, I do have pictures of it. And so I think it's just really interesting. I do believe that is going on.
Yes, I don't doubt it. I believe that they do have chemtrails, and I do believe that there is jet streams as well. But like Shane says, the jet streams are easy to figure out because they dissipate and disappear. The chemtrails seem to stay around forever.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I think there's both.
Yeah,
well,
yeah, definitely.
The government's even said they know how, and they do seed clouds so it'll rain. They have stated they know how to do that. So that would be chemtrails, whatever they're using, whether it be the aluminum or the magnesium, or it be, you would think they'd use salt or sand. I don't guess salt because I'd call, but sand, something to that effect. But they already admit they do that.
Yeah.
And I've traveled a lot across this country for work, and in the wintertime, when you get socked in with clouds in Salt Lake, they come over the intercom and they tell you, folks, we got to circle back around. They've got to seed the clouds to basically make it snow, so that the fog line will dissipate, so they can have their sight, so they can land the damn plane. I circled Seattle, or not Seattle, but Salt Lake one time for almost 40 minutes. Waiting for them to do that. So I do believe there is weather manipulation. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just had to wanted to let you know. And like I say, I enjoyed your joke. So have a good evening.
All right. Thanks, Anna.
Okay.
Appreciate
Bye-bye.
it. God bless. Bye-bye.
Did you really just say circle back? And Alex, who is Hillary Rodham Clinton?
All right.
We're going to get that one right twice.
Yeah, we'll try Eric Green one more time here. Will work. Come on. There we go. Hello, Eric. We can hear you, Eric. Go ahead.
There we go. Hello, Eric.
All right, moving on to Free Rebel. How are you this evening, sir?
Awesome. Hey, I want to touch on two things real quick. Pyramids. When I say non-Christian scientists, I'm saying, or scientists that aren't like Kent Hovind, okay? They may believe, but they're dutiful to their field. They have lined up time frame of when the Israelites were slaves in Egypt to when a lot of that construction was going on. And they've noticed that following the Bible time frame, that when the Israelites left, all that major construction is left. Now, the reason why I bring that up is I've been trying to find it all night since you started this. It's in the Old Testament somewhere where God said, so-and-so is a master tradesman of whatever, being from, animals to wood to growing crops, stonemasons. God set up, this person is God gave them, downloaded master tradesman knowledge to this person so he can teach other people to do what he does. They had the smarts to do what they did with the pyramids and all the other building in Egypt. And why can't we comprehend it today? Because we're too stupid, because we lost that knowledge through all the dark ages and stuff. Second thing, I want to touch on the lady with the moon landing. They said, well, how could they have a camera on the moon? They had cameras mounted on the landing struts that were protected by before they separated and landed, so that when he landed, they turned them on and they could have live feeds of the moon with nobody out there. And how could they have a shot of the pod going back up? Is they had set a camera outside the lander to film that, and that was a live feed back to NASA. There was no tapes; it was all live feeds, and that's why back then, and even today, when if a ship goes, on the dark side of the moon, they lose communications with it because of the Van Allen belt and the moon itself interfering with the radio communications. But the Van Allen belt is not as I'll finish here in just a second. The Van Allen belt is not as radioactive as people think. It's more of electromagnetic, I don't say force field, but that's pretty much what it is. It's an electromagnetic buffer for our Earth to keep stuff from hitting us. And also to keep the solar flares from, burning us to a crisp whenever the sun sides spew out a little hate to us.
Yeah. Isn't Dark Side of the Moon, isn't that like a Pink Floyd song or something?
Yeah.
Okay. So you believe that the moon landing was real?
Yes. And for people that say, they say, oh, we lost the technology. They didn't lose the technology. It's all locked away in a safe somewhere. I've talked to people that they know exactly where it's at. It's just that with our level of technology today, that'd be like me trying to, like you trying to do a podcast on the first computer that came out back in the 80s. It ain't going to happen. The technology that they used to land on the moon back in, when was it, 50s or 60s? That was before my time, barely. It doesn't work for today's technology. That's why, they say, oh, we got to relearn. No. We just got to redo the numbers. America, we could land on the moon in a month. If Potato Head were to tell Elon Musk, hey, I want you on the moon in a month, Elon will beat it by 3 weeks.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question. Okay. No disrespect. I just have to ask a question. Supposedly we landed on the moon back in the 60s. What kind of technology would we have had to do a live feed video back to Earth? I'm curious.
It was rough. That's why it took minutes, if not hours, to get the signal from the moon to the Earth and back.
And the reason why I'm asking is because there wasn't any satellites up yet, right? Am I wrong about that?
They did have
no
satellites.
I'd have to research that.
I'm asking because I want to know.
Well, if you look at the radio towers, like the one out in Hawaii, that was the one that was critical for the moon mission, was up on top of that volcano where they have the antenna so they can listen to outer space. Well, they can transmit messages to spacecraft with that tower as well. And they got them in South America. They got them over in Russia now. They've had them for a long time. China, they got a humongous one in China now. The technology was there. It's just that, look at what some people talk about today. It's like, oh, I wonder what kind of technology the government's hiding from us. That's a conspiracy in and of itself. How long were cell phones, the technology of cell phones were known before we got our hands on them?
Well, here's the only thing
what kind of technology did the U.S. government have to get those guys on the moon that we didn't know about because it was for our own good? I hate to say that.
Let me ask this, or let me make a statement here. We had, in some of the presidential cars, they had ways to communicate, and it was a phone, basically. It's kind of like a CB phone. But they had trouble getting across towns because of the signal, and you couldn't put out enough strength. So that would be, I'm like Mike's, that would be the reason I would ask that question. Yes, they had some digital, it wasn't digital, it was analog signal. But if it ain't strong enough to go across town, that would tell me it ain't strong enough to penetrate through the Van Allen belt or even to the moon. So there's some questions there that would have to be looked into a little deeper. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
There's some doubt there because they couldn't hardly get a signal across town. And even in the 80s, when they come out with the car phones, that was fixed in the cars, they had a hell of a time getting across town in them too, because the buildings and atmospheric, whether it was raining or foggy. So you're talking quite a ways away and through a lot of atmosphere. So that'd be something I would definitely want to do some more reading on.
Well, that's why I'm saying the antenna, the main one I'm going to reference is the one that's in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. It's so big and so powerful that it can send out a strong enough signal to get through all that interference.
And you're saying back in the late 60s, they could do that.
Yeah.
That's where I would have to read, because that's a
and
long
then also on receiving signals, it was powerful enough. You could hear a cricket fart on Mars if it wanted to back then.
Well,
so you can pick up the transmitting. What's that?
Transmitting. Receiving's a lot different than transmitting. Transmitting takes a whole lot more power than receiving.
I know. Okay. Why do you think you did it on the top of a mountain? Because there's nothing in the way but clouds.
Yeah, it's the same place they got one of the telescopes. It's the same
Very
place
interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
Very
they
amazing.
had the technology. I mean, look what the British did in World War II. They developed radar to find out when the Germans were flying in. You know, in a pinch,
Yeah, but it was all
tank
off
can
noise.
do whatever
No,
it
wait a
wants.
minute. That was all off noise. That was all off sound vibrations. That's how they did that. Just like so they could detect planes, and that's where submarine technology was. It was all by ping, which was sound vibrations. It sent out sound, and they determined how long it takes to get that sound back. Now that's totally different. Here's the thing: you send that to outer space, it ain't going to stop off by the moon and say hello. It's going to keep going. You're not going to get the reception back.
Yeah. When they send that signal, it goes out everywhere.
Yeah, it's gone
from that point. And it just so happens that it's hitting the moon at one point to where the astronauts can hear what NASA has to say, and then he transmit back and they can receive, they got the power of their receiver. Sorry, my technical jargon's leaving me. It's kind of like with CBs, or I should say a better analogy would be shortwave radios.
Well, here's another thought for you is, okay, let's say we had enough power to send that signal out to get to this little thing that landed on the moon, whatever you want to call it. How in the hell does it have enough power to send a signal back to communicate? Now that don't make no sense.
That's where the antenna that's receiving it has to be big enough to gather in that little tiny fraction of a signal coming back and be able to split all the interference off of it and be able to understand what they're saying.
All right, I'll make you a deal. Do some research on that and bring back some hard evidence, and I'm going to do some too, and we'll compare notes because I'd like to know. I'm not doubting you one bit. I'm just saying it doesn't make sense in my mind. So do some research, and I'll do the same. Fair?
Yeah, fair.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks, Rebel, for coming in and giving us your opinion on that, because it's nice to hear somebody else's point of view. I really appreciate it.
Yep. All right, I'm going to take off. See y'all later.
Take care. Yep. Bye-bye.
Alex for 500. Who was the lead singer of ZZ Top?
Well, it wasn't HRC.
No, I'm talking about the dude that was just on.
Free Rebel. Free Rebel has a ZZ Top beard, that's for sure.
Yes.
It looks good too. He said the other night when he called in, I need to trim this up. Oh, hell no.
Oh, no.
You keep that baby. You keep that baby. It looks good.
Get some dreads going on in it.
There you go.
Here's something I wanted to bring up. So when we would do data collection through satellites, we had a receiving satellite on top of the pineapple field. Actually had 3, 4 of them. And we would listen to certain places. Our signal would drop all the time. And this is mid to late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So
my signal drops all the time, and it's 2021 when we're doing the internet stuff here too. So, I'm not saying that he's wrong.
Right.
I find it very interesting that he has that point of view, because obviously he's found it somewhere. He didn't just make that shit up. So, he's been researching something. He's been finding something out there that he formed his opinion on that. So, like Shane said, I'd like to hear more. Again, I don't know if it was fake or not in the beginning. I'm hoping it wasn't fake, in the Apollo missions, because I find that stuff really neat. But we've been lied to, so it's not hard to believe that we've been lied to and that it is fake.
Well,
our minds are all screwed up.
Well, here's the deal. Back when we had analog connection, we actually had better connection. We have this digital signal in a lot of respect. But yet again, this is a more clear, and we get a digital signal with it so that we can actually do this, what we do. But the analog signal was so much stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the analog didn't cut. You're talking in the late 60s. I don't know about that. I'm going to have to do a lot of digging on that.
All right. So
You
question
need
number
some
12.
shovels?
Question number 12.
I said, do you need some shovels, Shane?
No.
Question number 12. This one goes to Jeff B.
Oh, shit.
Why did Michael Jackson call it the moonwalk?
That's a damn good question.
If we didn't make it to the moon, why did he call it the moonwalk? How did he know?
Jedi mind tricks.
Well, this has been a very entertaining evening, gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen in the audience. It's been real fun spending this time with you on Saturday night. Jeff B always brings his humor. I like the Jeopardy stuff. That is pretty funny. So, final thoughts for tonight. Your final thoughts. You can make it whatever you want. It could be about the conspiracy theories. It could be about whatever you want. Shane, you want to go first, or do you want to answer the question? Why did he call it the moonwalk if we've never been on the moon?
Well, it very well could have come from one of them videos he watched, like we watched, as a kid growing up. He watched them on the moon. And if you'll look, they're trying to walk and they're kind of going backwards, supposedly, or they're jumping, whatever the hell they're doing. Maybe he just made them. They said, "What do you call that?" And he seen, Apollo over there on the TV. He said, "That's a moonwalk." "Oh, that sounds good, man. Teach us." You know how shit gets started.
Question number 13. Why did they call them moon boots?
Marketing.
Question number 14. Why did they call them moon pies? And those things are delicious.
Maybe because that's the shit they're feeding us.
I love moon pies. I love moon pies. My favorite one is, I think it's butterscotch. I think they make a butterscotch one. Vanilla is pretty good too. Anyway, I just had to throw that out there. I wanted to get a couple of laughs. I'm not as funny as Jeff B. I realize that. Jeff B is a lot funnier with the Jeopardy questions. I just thought I'd throw some other ones out there. So, did you finish your final thought there, Shane, or did I interrupt?
I never got to start it, so it didn't matter.
Okay, there you go.
You can't interrupt something you don't let start.
All right.
Final thought. Yeah, there's a conspiracies everything one day will be debunked one way or the other, whether it's conspiracy or whether it's fact or whether it's true, false. It'll all one day come out, we hope. So, but it sure is fun speculating and kind of looking around. It never hurts to look at an opposite side, opposite view, because they might point out something you missed. So I don't mind listening to both sides.
All right. Well, thanks for that. Hey, before you guys jump out of here, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button for me, I would really appreciate it. Help us get the algorithms up. To that, Shane, I'd have to say there are some conspiracies and things we'll never know the truth on, period. My opinion.
Now,
Jeff
that's
B,
a fact.
That's a fact. Jeff B, your final thought?
So here's a conspiracy for you. So it's been reported for the last week, all these fighter jets and KC-35s and everything all over the East and West Coast, right? So the United States and the world doesn't supposedly fight a war on the weekend because the skies are empty. But I was told earlier this afternoon, and here's the conspiracy part, a message was transmitted through a certain network to all embassies. And amazing how everything just dissipates. Watch the water.
All right. Thanks, Jeff B, for your final thought. Here's my final thought, folks. Tonight's show was to be entertaining. And conspiracy theories, I look at all of them as entertainment first. A lot of good and fun things that they put in there. A lot of bad things, and you know, you can believe it or you cannot believe it, and it's still entertaining, and we still can come together and have a good time talking about it. You know, you might learn something. You might learn something new. You might debunk something. I don't know. But for the entertainment value of it all, it was just a pleasure spending that time with Jeff and Shane tonight and having some laughs. We were a little. I didn't want to be so uptight tonight. We wanted to kind of joke around, have a little bit of fun, and just chillax on Saturday night. So that was kind of my whole thought process with throwing this in there tonight was let's just have a little bit of fun with it, right? We need a laugh. We need a joke. So that's my final thought for this evening. Thank you everybody for joining us. And as always, you know, if you want to receive our email notifications, you go to libertywarriornation.com, fill out our email notification form and send that to us. We also have the more button there where you can send us prayer requests. And we have our store link there with all of our merchandise. So if you guys want to check that out, you can do that as well. Shane, I'll go ahead and close us in prayer and then we'll get out of here. How's that sound for Saturday night? Get out a few minutes early.
I never cussed about getting out of school early, so I don't guess I'll cuss about getting out of here early. I ain't got nothing else to do, so it don't matter to me.
All right. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for a great evening with all of our family and our friends tonight as we all share together these wonderful topics that are very entertaining and fun to talk about, Lord. Thank you for blessing us with the great conversation with Jeff B. and with Shane and with all of our wonderful callers that called in tonight that wanted to get either their points across, their opinions, or just a comment, Lord. Thank you for all those great callers. Thank you for all of the viewers and the listeners tonight as they enjoyed the show and they maybe learned something they didn't know. Lord, I just pray a hedge of protection around each and every one of them and keep them safe, Lord. Lord, we pray for our brother Paul Davis tonight and his family and his son, Lord. I just pray your hand of healing for his son, Lord, and your hand of comfort with Paul Davis and his family as they are struggling and going through a hard time right now as a family with their son. Lord, I just pray that you heal him and bring him home very soon and make him a productive member of the family right away. Lord, I also pray for David and his wife and his son over in the Philippines. Lord, I pray for them that they are warm and safe tonight and have what they need. Lord, I know that we had a great time last night on Travis's show raising money for them because they have absolutely lost everything, Lord. And I just pray your hand of protection over his wife and his kid. Lord, I also pray that you provide them with the necessities that they need to survive, mainly a warm, safe place to sleep and food, Lord. And I just pray this in your son's precious name. Amen and amen. All right, folks. Well, thanks for joining us this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure spending it with you. Let's see. Tomorrow is Sunday and Monday. So we will not be on tomorrow or Monday here. Okay. We're taking 2 days off. Monday, I will be in the news Monday morning at noon Eastern, 11 Central, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. And then later in the afternoon on Monday, which would be 3 Eastern, 2 Central, and 1 o'clock Mountain Time, Jeff B. will join me on the podcast on Podbean. You can find it by downloading Podbean on your phone or your device and then looking up LWN Podcast. We are also on Spotify and we are also on Amazon Music. You can find us there as well. So that is Monday's schedule. And then we will be back here Tuesday evening at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain Time. And Shane?
5 Pacific.
All right. Love you all. Have a great night. Happy Saturdays. Later.
Hoping for a sincere performance, but open to finding the moment. to finding out where I'm headed now. Looking for a sign of disaster, so I can make it there faster. I'm weighing the consequences out. I can see in all directions. It's all open to interpretation, but I see colors that are breaking from the other side, the other side. When I make mountains out of summer trails, when I buckle under all the details, I'll keep going till I make it to the other side, the other side. Can you tell me the secret of how you can take it or leave it? How you can blend in with the crowd?